Alrighty, hi there. It's been a crazy day. Meteorologist T.J. Springer here in the Storm Center, just talking about the brute strength that is Hurricane Melissa, Category 5 Hurricane Melissa. And this is something we've been talking about for now, it feels like days, and we'll continue to talk about it for even more as this still continues to work through the Caribbean and eventually into the Atlantic. We're live right now, Fox 35 Weather Plus, our daily weather show at 3 o'clock each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, 3 o'clock. Myself, Noah, Laurel, Jess Brooks, all teaming up to bring you the latest, and especially today, it feels really pertinent as we're continuing to track Hurricane Melissa. And this has just been a really tough one because we know how bad hurricanes are, but especially when you have one of this magnitude. And it's just been a really kind of sobering situation for us here. This is the latest. You can see it's continuing to move through western Jamaica. Now, the good news is we continue to see the potential for at least a little bit of weakening, and I do think that we are going to see that trend at least continue for a little bit here. It looks like my weather graphics may have froze here, but I can at least talk a little bit about what we're seeing with Melissa. It was tied for the second strongest Atlantic hurricane, and this has certainly been something that is just really, really unbelievable. There we go. Now we're back. Okay. Let's put it into motion there. So now you can see where it is currently. It's continuing to work. And the eye is essentially shrinking, and I would think trying to maybe go through an eye wall replacement cycle. Our latest advisory at 2 o'clock, past official landfall, still a major Category 5 monster right now, moving north-northeast at 8 miles per hour. Our 3 o'clock advisory now, I think they're doing these every hour, the National Hurricane Center. But it did make landfall around 1 o'clock, and we'll show you that here in just a moment. But this is the current update pressure now up to 906 millibars, still an insanely strong storm as it's working off to the north-northeast at 8 miles per hour. Just thoughts and prayers for Jamaica, because essentially this really is going to be a humanitarian crisis that unfolds, and it could be a while where before we start to get some imagery coming out of this part of Jamaica, just because of the strength of Melissa. The good news is it is going to continue to weaken, but still going to likely reemerge as a major Category 3 or 4 storm as we head through the rest of the day into our Wednesday, as it starts to set her sights on Cuba. If you have any questions, any comments, please throw them in. I'm monitoring Facebook and YouTube as we speak. I'm not really seeing anything just yet, but if there is anything that's on your mind, on your mind, please let me know. So here's the official landfall around 1 o'clock, and this happened in southwest Jamaica near New Hope with sustained wind at 185 miles per hour, and the pressure down around 892 to be exact. But just really unbelievable stuff. I know I probably echo every single meteorologist, but for us here in Florida, we're no stranger to hurricanes. But when you talk about a storm of this magnitude, it just gives you pause, because you think of the devastation that's unfolding, whether it be from the catastrophic wind, the mudslides in the mountainous terrain of Jamaica, and you think of the mountains, up there. The wind's even stronger, beyond 200 miles per hour. The higher you get up into the atmosphere, the stronger the wind is. There's no friction from the land. So that's where a lot of people I know, I'm sure, we're trying to seek shelter, seek refuge, hopefully in sturdy concrete buildings. But it's been a tough day as a meteorologist, and I'm sure colleagues all around the world will agree. It's just, when you ever see something like this, it's just tough to swallow sometimes. But these are the strongest hurricanes in the Atlantic, and Melissa now tying for the second strongest hurricane ever in terms of pressure. 892 millibars, just 10 millibars above Wilma, and we all remember Wilma in 2005, but this is stronger than Rita. Of course, just last year, all the devastation with Milton, it is stronger than Milton, and Milton was just as bad. You know, we had a Category 5 Milton moving toward us here in the Sunshine State, so certainly an unbelievable storm, and it actually, in terms of landfalling hurricanes, it does tie the strongest landfalling hurricane, and that's a tough pill to swallow as well. It's just really a monster storm. Now, the latest track, the latest expected track for Melissa takes it from Jamaica right up toward eastern Cuba, and that is where we have hurricane warnings posted. We still have tropical storm warnings, just obviously how big Melissa is for portions of Haiti. Now hurricane warnings for portions of the Bahamas as well, and now the Turks and Caicos. From Cuba, it's still likely going to be a Category 3 storm, and then it continues to work off to the north and east into the open Atlantic, then setting sights on Bermuda. And Bermuda, it could still be a strong storm. Maybe not a major hurricane at that point. But let's go back in here, and we can show you how it plays a role in Bermuda. So there's Bermuda, and could be closing in on Bermuda as a Category 2 storm before weakening to a Category 1 hurricane late in the work week, finally heading into the North Atlantic as a tropical storm this weekend. So we're still going to be talking about Melissa even into this upcoming weekend. We still have a ways to go. Seeing a bunch of you watching on Facebook. Thanks for tuning in. Again, if you have any questions, comments, please throw them down. We can certainly talk about them. But the weather world has certainly been all Melissa here today, as it's been eyeing Jamaica. So as we head through the rest of the day, we are going to start to see the worst of the wind exit Jamaica, but still dealing with major hurricane force wind at the time. At this current time, this all starts to work to the north and east, back over the Caribbean as it heads up kind of closer to Guantanamo Bay, as likely a Cat 3 or Cat 4. It'll be interesting to see how much it weakens, but at least right now, really no big signs of any sort of crazy weakening just yet, because it's moving a little faster. Myself and Noah were just talking a little bit about that before our weather stream. It's picked up a little bit of speed now, so that's good news in terms of the time it spends over Jamaica. But the quicker it gets over water, the quicker it can try to maybe intensify a little bit once again. Now, some of you, which we can talk about even more so as we head into our next 10 minutes or so of Fox 35 Weather Plus, maybe you've heard about birds getting trapped in the eye wall of hurricanes, and birds were trapped in Melissa. That was on record by the hurricane hunters. So we'll talk a little more about that. We'll be taking a quick little break, a 2-minute break on Fox Local, coming up here in just about 45 seconds. But if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, you can throw in any questions or comments you may have, anything that's weighing on you, whether it be related to Melissa or not. We also are going to talk a little more about a big cool down coming for us, a cold front, and in turn dipping the jet stream that's actually going to help keep Melissa away from the United States, going to give us a pretty solid blast of cool air, winter air for Florida. So we'll talk a little more about that coming up as well. But we'll leave you on Fox Local and Facebook and YouTubers. Don't go away. We're gonna stay right here with you. And now, if you're on Fox Local, you can join us on Facebook and YouTube as well, so you don't miss anything. Alrighty, but yeah, it's really been been tough to talk about, and I'm curious what we're going to see as we start to get some eyes on some of the devastation from Melissa. We were talking about this, myself and Garrett, during our 2 o'clock stream, Florida Live, on Fox 35 and Fox Local, about one of our own correspondents, or one of our Fox weather correspondents, Robert Ray. We've been getting some reports from him. He's been in Jamaica, actually had to move. Believe he was in eastern Jamaica, then had to get up into western Jamaica, closer to where we were expecting the landfall to take place. But just hoping and praying for so many. I know David Martin was talking to some folks today that had family in Jamaica, and all you can do is really hope and pray that everyone's going to come out of this, and there's not, without little death and destruction as possible. But just because of this being an island, to get resources in, it's only going to be by plane or by boat, and both airports with the surge were likely going to be underwater, so it's likely going to have to be by boat, or if there's any other way that you can drop resources in. But it really, this is going to change the landscape forever for Jamaica as a whole, for residents. So all you can do is just hope and pray that everyone's going to come out of this as best they can. But I think this is going to be the world hopefully coming together to help Jamaica after dealing with something like this, in relief efforts and everything that comes after a natural disaster. Welcome back, Fox Local. I do want to talk about something, and I mentioned it before we went to break. Yes, maybe you've seen it on social media. Maybe you've seen it on a news story. But birds can get trapped in hurricanes. It's kind of sad to think, because you think, are they in danger? What happens? What do we see when birds do get trapped in a hurricane, and especially a hurricane of this magnitude? But because of the strength of the wind, the forces at play in the atmosphere, essentially you see these birds get sucked in to the storm. They then become trapped in the eye of the hurricane, sadly. And you think of, you've probably seen some of the hurricane hunter footage, the stadium effect, it's beautifully ominous, I feel like I can say, because as a meteorologist, you're like, wow, look at the physics, look at everything that's going on in the atmosphere to create this, when you have such immense forces at work, the rising air, the storms around the hurricane, then you have the sinking air in the eye wall, and of course that's how you get the calm, serene, picturesque looking views for just that short moment in time. But the birds get trapped in the calm eye, and once they're in there, they can't escape because of the violent wind around the eye. So essentially the birds are subject to just kind of seek refuge in the eye, sometimes traveling hundreds of miles in the calmness of the eye, until they can either escape as maybe the eye wall starts to go through a cycle, or the storm makes landfall and in turn starts to weaken, and the birds can get out. But it's just crazy to think, yes, birds can in turn get trapped in the eye wall, the eye of a hurricane, or trapped within the center of a hurricane. Now, locally speaking, we'll jump into some local conditions. Today, as a whole, a lot drier, a lot more beautiful of a day unfolding. If you've gotten out and about, it feels comfier after the raininess, after all the flooding we had here. I mean, the flooding, that was a huge story Sunday into Monday. Just unbelievable flooding in localized areas around Central Florida. And Melissa is not fully to blame, but Melissa certainly a part of it. High pressure to our north and the warm front that was slowly lifting across the peninsula made for some really intense rain, and over a foot of rain in some spots, which caused the devastating flooding. I was talking to some folks yesterday in Lake County that were just going through it in the worst way. Their homes essentially destroyed from the flooding. So for those of you that are watching locally, and those of you that are dealing with the flooding and the damage as a result, thoughts and prayers to you as well as you kind of start to pick up the pieces and go through all of the headache with that. But it was really tough to see as well. Right now, 3:15. If you're just joining us, Fox Local, Fox 35, Facebook and YouTube here, as well as my Facebook page, Meteorologist T.J. Springer, talking about, of course, Melissa and our local weather. Let me kind of set the stage here for what's to come the rest of the week, because things certainly going to be chilly. Right now, let me just pull up our radar and surface map. There we go. So there's Melissa. There is the cold front that got through yesterday. And to our west, you can see already showers right now, some rain. Looks like some storms around Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas. That's going to be the system that works into our neck of the woods tomorrow. Could bring us a few showers. Not a great chance of rain. I think a few showers possible. But behind this system, this is going to be the one that really gives us a good punch, a solid cool down as we approach Halloween. So it'll really feel like Halloween. It'll feel like winter for Floridians, feeling like Halloween across the rest of the country that deals with, cooler fall conditions. All right, hi, Michelle. Hi, Alicia. Hi, Martha. Seeing the prayers going up for Jamaica, yes. Andy, are you in Jamaica? You're saying your best friend has a house in St. James in the Hills overlooking Montego Bay. Yeah, still expecting that, Andy. I'm praying for your friend. Hopefully your friend gets out okay. If he's in the hills, the wind going to be even worse there, sadly. Gene, how are you? Saying the storm is terrible. On a later note, I was in the Ultimate Mall in Dillard's, saw all the bow ties, and immediately thought of you and smiled. Your smile makes my day. Thank you, Gene. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Ian, how are you? Saying hello from Belfast, Ireland. Oh my gosh. You're saying may have missed it, but why is the storm moving so slow to cause the damage? That's a great question, Ian. Let me pull back up Melissa. So Melissa was moving so slow because of the lack of steering in this portion of the tropics. So now they're starting to feel some of the upper level wind, of course, interacting with land, certainly started to become a quicker storm now as it works off eventually into the Atlantic toward Cuba, and eventually toward the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas. So there's certainly going to be, sadly, probably more devastation, more damage as Melissa reemerges from Jamaica. But that was a great question, Ian. That's kind of why now thankfully it starts to deal with this dip in the jet stream getting picked up and a little more wind at play higher up in the atmosphere to help start to steer Melissa. But right now, things certainly at the beaches, you can see how high the water is. Big waves, high rip current risk, coastal beach erosion, the potential even for a little bit of coastal flooding, possibly. But those are really the only impacts for us on the East Coast beaches. Thankfully, this was a miss for the U.S. mainland. But whenever you have any sort of hurricane, especially one of this magnitude, you never want it to have any land interaction. But sadly, that's what we're seeing with Jamaica today. So thoughts and prayers. It's already obviously gone through Hispaniola with some lives already taken with the intense weather across the DR and Haiti. Locally, today, tonight, things certainly going to be chilly. Check out the conditions here. 50s. Some fog possible for sure with lighter wind, clear sky. That may be something you'll have to contend with on your Wednesday morning drive. So think about that if you are getting out and about early tomorrow. But I would say, gosh, our northern and western locales, grab a jacket. All right, be right back, Fox Local friends. Sorry, I lost track of time there. if you're watching us on Facebook and YouTube, we'll talk a little more about our local conditions here. But certainly a hoodie weather, I would say. Grab a sweatshirt if you're heading out to the bus stop tomorrow. 54 in Gainesville, 56 in Ocala, closer to 60 in the metro. But this is certainly not the coolest conditions we're going to feel this week in Central Florida. Lauren, you're asking, is this going to hit Florida? Thankfully, no. No, this is not going to hit Florida. William, you're asking, where's your sister that does the weather if we had this story? So William's asking, thought that Laurel and I looked alike and was asking if we were brother and sister. No, Laurel and I are not brother and sister. But we are Fox 35 family, so that's good enough. Dawn, you're asking about the path of this storm. Yes, so we can go back to the path of Melissa. Again, I know some of you may be just tuning in. We hit Melissa, broke down Melissa right off the top of our show, but we can certainly go back to Melissa. So here is the currents on Melissa right now. So this is our 3 o'clock advisory. And forgive me, it looks like our weather system's running a little slow, so it's being a little laggy on us. But right now, our latest advisory, 160 mile per hour wind, moving off to the north-northeast at 8 miles per hour. And Dawn, I can only imagine. Yeah, I'm so sorry you were dealing with all the flooding rain in Titusville. That was awful. So prayers going out to you if you guys were dealing with any damage by the flooding. So thankfully, this is not going to hit us in Florida, Dawn. So this is going to move up closer to Cuba, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos, and then work off toward Bermuda as we progress through late this week. So this is not going to impact us in Central Florida, Dawn. Just some good news there as the water hopefully has receded in Titusville. I'm sure it's high and still in some places. Yesterday I was seeing it in Lake County, northern Brevard County around Titusville, the hard-hit spots from the flooding Sunday into Monday. But we're looking at only the potential for just a few showers as the cold front tries to work through on Wednesday into Thursday, and then behind it, a big shot of cool air. So if you're ready for some cooler weather, you'll be in luck. We can go through that on our Fox weather model. Welcome back, Fox local friends. We're talking about the incoming cold front for us on Wednesday into Thursday, and then the impending cool down for us as we head closer to Halloween. Oh my gosh, Dawn, you're talking about your home, 9 inches in the bottom first floor of your home. Dawn, I'm so sorry. Thoughts and prayers to you guys. I know that's awful. I was seeing it in Lake County. I was covering the flooding there, and water. The families I spoke to were dealing with what you were dealing with. So I'm so sorry you're dealing with it, and I hope you guys are able to get things situated and back to normal as quick as you can. I know it's not easy to deal with. My heart goes out to you guys. All right, so tonight, quiet, starry, fog possible. Tomorrow morning's commute, chilly, quiet, and you can see this is Wednesday at 4. There's that line of a few showers. You can see maybe a couple sprinkles late tomorrow, and then Thursday, that's when we're going to feel that rush of cool air, a big cool down as this moves in. And for Halloween, it's going to be crisp. It is certainly going to be crisp. Temperatures likely in the upper 50s, lower 60s. So I would say maybe if you're going out with a costume that might be a little bit, what's the word I'm trying to look for? I don't want to say skimpy, but if you're dressing up and you know you're going to be chilly, maybe try to wear some clothes under your costume or bring a jacket just so you're not chilly. Trick-or-treating out there. Let me pull up the 7-day. You can kind of get a better glimpse at that here, a better glimpse of what's coming down the pike, so to speak. Alrighty, so this is what we're in for. Lots of sunshine, quiet conditions, 70s. Check out our overnight lows as we progress into Friday morning. Upper 50s. I'm going to pull up my phone. I have Facebook up, just making sure I'm not missing any sort of any comments here. Doesn't look like it, at least right now. Let's see. I don't think so. Okay, let me hop over to YouTube, make sure I'm not missing anything. Not missing anything there. Again, thanks for all of you that have tuned in today. This has probably been one of the best days we have viewership-wise. Appreciate you all tuning in and bringing your comments, your questions. Looks like another storm system. We'll get a bit of a boost in our temperatures as we progress through early next week. Chance of maybe a shower or storm. Tuesday right now, not a great chance. Put it at about a 30% chance on Tuesday, as we have another solid dip in the jet stream. Looks like another solid cool down as well, potentially behind it. Maybe not nowhere probably near as big of a cool down as what we're going to be dealing with this weekend of the weekend, but still looks like probably a little cool down. And if I can pull it up, I thought I had that graphic in my show, but I can tell you, top 5 wettest Halloweens. It's not going to be wet for us. I want to make one for the coolest because I know that's going to be the story. It's going to be a January-esque Halloween in terms of our average temperatures, but these are the wettest Halloweens back in 1958. Almost 3 inches of rain. Now, on average, we see around 3 inches of rain in October, so you can only imagine getting that kind of rain just in one day, and obviously with us dealing with all the rain that we've seen this past weekend into early this week, we've already surpassed that for so many locales, so many neighborhoods that dealt with the flooding rain. Next up, 1997, an inch and 74 hundredths on Halloween. 1969, an inch and 14 hundredths, and then back in 2011, saw just about an inch and a tenth, a little less than that, back in 1965. So, thankfully, not dealing with rain. So many of us need to dry out, but looking a lot better. Beautiful, beautiful trick-or-treat weather as we progress through the end of the work week. But if you're out there, I know a lot of neighborhoods, do block parties, things of that nature. I'll be bundling up. I know probably many of you will as well, so that would probably be a good idea. Dress accordingly on October 31st. Especially if you're going out late in the night for maybe any sort of get-togethers or Halloween parties, things like that. But I appreciate all the comments. Thanks for weighing in. Thanks for the questions that you all have had. And be sure to join Marlisa at 4 for the 407, our brand new show at 4 o'clock. And then Noah will have the latest on Melissa at 5 and 6. And I'll be back on at 8, and then Noah will be on at 10 and 11 for all the latest, of course.
After baseball.
What am I saying? After the World Series.
Which could be 20 innings again.
After the World Series, yeah. That's right, because I actually fell asleep during it, and I woke up, and I'm like, look at the innings. Oh, my gosh, yeah. So hopefully if you're still up, hold on, and you'll get the latest after the World Series. But be sure to join us at 5 and 6. And we'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe and have a great night. Good rest of your day.